Fibula is thin, ulna is thin. So radius is the main bone, which is the thick main bone. That goes directly to the elbow, and that is a weight-bearing kind of bone. This goes directly to two bones at your hand, and they are called the scaphoid and the lunate. Scaphoid and the lunate. This I will just type send you notes as well. But this is lying directly in line with your radius. This thing is a bit confusing. Okay, so if you see here, the thicker bone is the radius. Is that okay? So in line with the radius, this thick bone is the scaphoid, and then right besides that is another thick bone called the lunate. Those two are the thick bones of the wrist which can bear weight. The little finger side, there is nothing, no strong connecting bones to ulna. Ulna itself is very thin and it's just some soft tissue there. They're not weight bearing. They won't transmit weight all the way to elbow and the shoulder. That has to happen through the radius, humerus and shoulder blade. So that's why we say down dog and all these positions, you have to be on the inner hands. Index finger base down and the inner wrist, because that's where the scaphoid is. So don't put the weight on the outer hands, because there you don't have the weight bearing bones. You only have some soft tissue. So when it comes to hands, if at all, I might ask you what are the weight bearing bones at your hand, and or I might say why should you put weight towards the index finger, the inner parts of the wrist rather than the outer. So scaphoid, lunate, the two weight bearing bones, and radius, the main thick bone of the forearm. Okay? Scaphoid, S-C-A-P-H-O-I-D. Scaphoid, comma, lunate, L-U-N-A-T-E. Time. Okay, so then we go into the next module. That was the Ashtanga module. So, Tristhana, the Ashtanga Vinyasa system stands on three things. What are they? So, Asana, Bandha, Drishti. Okay? These three are supported by Vinyasa. Vinyasa is Ujjayi breath plus the counts or the movements. That's a Vinyasa. It's a breath plus counts. That is the Vinyasa. Then on this Vinyasa is threaded the Asana, Bandha, Drishti. Nine gazing points. Do you know? Huh? Okay, so yeah, just to, I think all of you know this, but I'll just start it off. So there is upwards. Then there is third eye. Can somebody count as to, Saraj, can you count the number? So upward, third eye, upward, third eye, nose tip. Okay, then if you go in that way, navel. That's all in the central line. Then big toe, sorry, not big toe, foot. Okay, foot. How many now? 5. I'm getting tensed up a bit. Then left and right, 7 already. Then thumb and hand tip. 9, right? Yeah. Simple. Okay. So those are the 9 gazing points. Physiology of Ujjayi. So physiology of Ujjayi, you need to write very basically the respiratory system. So the passage of the flow of air. Ujjayi breath is not just breath. So breath, we talk about movement. But Ujjayi breath, we are talking about a sound. And the sound comes from the air pushing against the walls of its passage. That's when the sound comes. So in Ujjayi breath, there is both air and movement. So you have to talk about the passage of the air. So you have to just, I think it's there in the notes, right? The pharynx. So it starts with the nostrils, then it goes into pharynx, then it goes into larynx. At the larynx is the vocal cords, okay? And the opening of the vocal cords is called the glottis. Above the glottis, you have something called epiglottis, which is this tiny leaf-like thing which diverts solid particles whenever it comes down. It closes the respiratory passage, it closes the glottis, and the solid and the liquid contents get pushed to the back of the respiratory tract into the esophagus, into your digestive canal. So epiglottis and glottis, they both are important in Ujjayi breathing. So the glottis is the opening of the larynx. The muscles around the glottis have to slightly tense to narrow the opening of the glottis, okay, because it's through that the air moves. Plus, the epiglottis have to slightly close to further narrow the opening of the glottis. Then it's like you're drinking breath through a straw, a very narrowed passage. That immediately makes the passage of the air much longer, because instead of a thick, big opening, is thinned down. So then breath becomes thin, tanu, and it becomes long, dirgha. Okay, these are important for changing brain state as well, mind state as well. Long, thin breath. So roughly you have to read up that respiratory system passageway. Okay, so you have the glottis, you have the trachea, you have the bronchi, alveoli, all that you just write in brief. Then Ashwini Vajroli Mula. Ashwini is contraction of the anal sphincter muscle. Then Vajroli is a contraction of the urogenital musculature. Okay. And Mula is a more subtle contraction of the middle of the pelvic floor. Then an opening invocation of the Ashtanga Vinyasa system, the first paragraph I would like you to learn by heart and write it in the exam. Okay? Vande Gurunam Charanarvinde Sandarshira, that the whole thing. Yeah? With minimum writing of our interpretation of it. Okay? Saha Andarshida Swa Atma Sukha Bodhe. That's a beautiful thing to say. Plus Samsara Hala Hala Moha Shanti. Okay? Daily life is samsara. Daily life tends to rake up a lot of poison in our system. You know, wrong kind of hormones gets flooded into our blood. So daily life also thrives on moha, which is delusion. In delusion we get all kinds of faulty thinking, and in response to that there is biological correlates to all these kind of thinking and emotions, and all that poisons our system. And the teachings give us shanti or relief from this. And it makes us see our own inner essence, and it gives us the sweetness of our being. Okay? Sometimes we tell it to other people, right? You're very sweet. But the teaching makes us tell ourselves, hey, I am actually sweet. That kind of thing. Saha Andarshida Swatma Sukha Bodhe. Then sun salute vinyasas. So the first sun salute is 9 vinyasas, second salute is 17 vinyasas. Learn both. So if I say write the vinyasas of the first sun salute, you have to write Samastiti, then One, inhale, arms up, thumb gives. All that you have to write. I might also not ask you all vinyasas, I might just ask you what is the 5th and 6th vinyasa of Sun Salute A. Then you just write that. Then vinyasas of all standing postures you have to learn up. Okay, so I might ask you, give me the, write all the vinyasas of triangle B. Then you have to start from Samasthiti. Samasthiti is never going to count. Then you say, 1 inhale, step right foot back, turn to the right. 2 exhale, put left hand down, right arm up, like that. So, third week, Kashmir Shaivism. First 5 tattvas. Shiva tattva, Shakti tattva, Sadashiva, Ishvara, Shuddha Vidya. So tattvas means realities. So the universe, at its base, it is just pure wisdom, pure unmanifest intelligence. Okay? Then that wisdom and an intention to express itself unfolds into manifestation through layers of unfolding. And they are called tattvas. 36 layers of unfolding. Okay, so the pure, totally unmanifest, that is called Paramashiva. Then that reality of the universe where it wants to feel itself, that is Shiva Tattva. Where it just kind of, it wakes up and it wants to feel itself. That is Shiva Tattva. Once it wants to feel itself, what it does is, it then starts to look at itself. That looking at itself is Shakti Tattva. Okay? So that is a dynamic process. It is looking at itself, and that as it looks at itself, so let's say I am this Shiva Tattva. I was just in deep sleep. I don't know what I am. It's just, then I wake up, and for a moment, I'm just nothing. Like I just have some awareness, but then I'm thinking I want to feel myself. Then I start to look at myself, and through this looking, my consciousness suddenly shows me as a father, as a teacher, as a husband, as an Indian. It starts to show me in so many ways. That is Shakti Tattva. Okay? So Shiva Tattva is that woken identity, but it just wants to see itself. And that seeing itself, then immediately that inner self-reflection happens, and in that reflection there is an activity. It shows itself in so many different ways. That is Shakti Tattva. Then you have the power, okay, it is showing yourself in these many ways. Then you can decide, okay, I want to feel myself in specific ways. I want to feel myself as so and so. That is intention. Okay, that is Sadashiva Tattva, where I intend. Then once my intention is picking up, I need to attend. Okay, intention is there, but how specifically I'm going to carry out this intention? The specifics of the intention, that is attention. And then I act. That is Shuddha Vidya. That's the first 5 tattvas. So the universe, from pure unmanifest level, it unfolds itself into manifestation through that desire to manifest, and then it intends, it attends, it acts. And each one of us are at our base, this intention of the universe to come out as us, And we also share the same thing. If we want to become something, intent, then attend, then act. We partake in this tattvas. So that's the first 5 tattvas. Then you basically have to learn up the 3 malas. This I'm talking a little bit from the exam point of view. So 3 malas. There is a 3 kind of envelopes, which shells around you. That is Anava mala, Maya mala, Karma mala. Anava mala is a shell of smallness. So because we are at our essence, this expanse of the universe, but we have come out as an individual, so we have shrunk. So we do feel that smallness, and we feel bad about it, because essentially we are this pervasiveness, and right now we are this contraction. So we feel something, this is not our home base, we feel bad about it, we want to change it. So Anavamala, everybody is prone to that. Okay? Maya mala, so Anavamala is so much of subject. I'm thinking of myself, I'm small. Maya mala is too much object. You get fascinated by other people. Oh, they are so good, they are so good, they are so good. So it's too much object and comparison. Okay? And because of these two, our actions get severely affected. Karma mala. I think I'm small, I think others are better. I don't want others to find out I'm small, so my behavior gets affected by all this. So that is karma mala. There is a desperation to prove ourselves and to others that we are somebody big. All these things happen. 5 kanchukas. They are not the 5 koshas of Vedanta. 5 kanchukas is kala. We have all distinctively manifested. Each one have our own unique sets of skill sets, kala, our own ways of knowing stuff. So I can be telling you all this, but each one of you is understanding and knowing the teachings in a different way. Not exactly as I am knowing and feeling these teachings. Each one of you will know it and put it in your life in a different way. That is vidya. So kala, vidya and raga, each one of you have unique kind of attractions, and how you find some kind of pleasantness and pleasure and all that is also unique. Okay? So in a way, everybody is seeking some kind of pleasure and pleasantness. For some people, it can be doing long meditations. It can be reading up deep, complicated philosophy. For somebody else, it can be dancing in a discotheque. So different people have their own unique ways of moving to find their happiness. So we cannot simply tell this is better, that is better, but everyone goes through their own journey. And then the last 2, kala and niyati, is time and space. Each one of us come wrapped up in certain units of time and certain units of space. Our body can be our shape and all that. Okay? This kala as a limitation. When Maya comes, this is the 5 kanjikas of Maya. So it's time is eternal and you are time, but yet when you are measured as units of time, yeah, we can put it as clock time, aging and all of that. Yeah. So module 3, 4th week, we started with anatomy, shoulder joint. What? Yes, there is scapula, there is humerus. Okay, humerus is the upper arm bone connecting to what of scapula? Glenoid cavity. Okay, the socket of the shoulder blade. So this socket of the shoulder blade into which your humerus connects, that is the shoulder joint. So the head of the humerus with the glenoid cavity of the scapula, that is the shoulder joint. So shoulder blade movements. So protraction, retraction, elevation, depression. Those are the 4 shoulder blade movements. So shoulder blade moving away from the spine towards the back ribs, towards the back side ribs, that is protraction. Shoulder blades moving towards the spine this way is retraction. Shoulder blades gliding up the shoulder blades is elevation. Down the ribs is depression. So any arm overhead positions, we want elevation and protraction. Anything like up dog, arms pressing down, we need an opening chest, we need retraction, strong retraction and external rotation. Okay, so that is the rotation of the arms outward. So what rotates the shoulder joint outwards? Here we mean the upper arm bone. What rotates outward? There your rotator cuff, you should remember. That which rotates is a rotator cuff. The very name rotator cuff. So teres minor and infraspinatus, 2 muscles which rotates the upper arm bones outward and holds them securely in the socket. And that is these 2 rotator cuff muscles. Very important in the integrity and safety of the shoulder joint. Then another thing you have to remember is which of the 4 rotator cuff muscles is very susceptible to injury in arm overhead movements? Supraspinatus. Okay, there are 4 rotator cuff muscles. Supraspinatus runs through here under the acromion process and into the humerus, so it will lift the arm like that, and it will also cuff it. So if you simply lift the arm alone without the shoulder blade moving with it, the arm will impinge the tendon of the supraspinatus, and then you have the frozen shoulder syndrome and all that. So you have to remember the terms acromion process and supraspinatus, head of the humerus. Now, 3 archetypes of yogi in Kashmir Shaivism. Mountain top yogi, cave yogi, cremation ground yogi. Okay, that you should be able to explain reasonably well. What is a mountain top yogi? What does it indicate? What is the invitation there? To be courageous, to go to the edges of possibilities, to pull away and be by yourself and going into your heights. All these are invitations, and in that process you strip yourself of all conditioned ideas, of all the masks and the labels, and get absolutely naked and be exposed at the top of the mountain. So those are the invitations where you see yourself and withstand harsh environment. All those things are invitations of the mountaintop yogi, and from where you get a vantage point view. So all that you have to write. Then cave yogi is, you cannot be always a yogi of exposure, you also need to get into the enclosure. So the yogi of enclosure is the cave yogi. Okay? So where you go into the depths of your being inwardly, and in that process everything drops in the darkness, and there in that darkness, everything merges into a singularity. Everything also dissolves into that darkness. So, cave yogi, so that you have to explain reasonably. And then the yogi of the cremation grounds is where transmutation takes place. So, from one realm to another. So, it's like a death. So, as to say, we burn the sanchita kind of samskaras, and then we are free from that. So every yoga class, what we are saying is, should offer all three. Should be the mountaintop where each student goes to the heights of possibilities in terms of movement, in terms of breath, in terms of concentration challenges, in terms of comprehensive abilities as you give subtle detailed instructions. Plus cave yogi, that's where each class serves as an enclosure where they can go deep in and connect to their essence. Each asana can serve in that way, such as the restorative postures and child pose. It serves as a cave to dive deep in. And each class should serve as a cremation ground where they come with their bodies as personalities, as individuals with all kinds of conclusions and assumptions of themselves. Everything like getting burned to ash with the tapas of the practice and the wisdom of the teacher's teachings. And then they go back floating, transmuted, changed, transformed, that kind of thing. Yeah? Then three archetypes of yogi in southern Shaktism. The main difference is the northern the yogi is always alone. Okay, here is always put with others. So instead of the mountaintop yogi, here is Dakshinamurti, who is a palace teacher. So he sits in the palace. What he means is, what the teachings mean is right in the midst, and it is not transcendence and enlightenment and solitude that is being invited, but it's mainly an engagement in conversations and active participation with even politics and what's happening in the world. And that's the palace invitation. So at the palace, all kinds of people come, and you are sitting right in the midst and discussing and listening and sharing. So that is Dakshinamurti. And instead of going to a remote cave, the second is Somaskanda. Your practice is at your home. Okay, so your home becomes your the cave where you have to practice your yoga, because that's where we tend to throw away our put-on image of whatever image we are trying to project to the world, and that's where we can really take people for granted. So the yoga with the family, the Somaskanda. So that is the second invitation. That can be even in your office and all those things. And the third one, instead of yogi of the cremation grounds, it is Nataraja, the dancer, where you're not trying to transmute. So the northern is looking at transcending, transmuting. Instead, here you're dancing between all the different states. There is this confusion, there is this clarity, you dance through both, okay? There is that forgetfulness, there is that remembrance, dance through both. So Nataraja, you dance through all the different possibilities of experience, becoming adept in that, in concealment and revelation, and in always you witness universe as it reveals its dance, and you yourself dance in the same way. Then we have Kali, Lakshmi, Saraswati. Okay? So Kali as time itself, the blackness of the Kali representing the blackness, you can't see it, is such a mystery. Each one of us, our base is such a mystery, that's Kali. And we are not living in time, we are time itself, revealing. And time and space are not two different things, but as two aspects, as a continuum, time-space continuum, which Einstein also agreed. So time and space are one and the same. So we are a revelation of this time-space continuum. And we are this raw process, Kali. And then Lakshmi Saraswati is the white light of awareness. We are not just this process, but we are equally the self-reflective process of white light. And when this white light falls on the black process, then from that commingling rises the golden Suvarna Lakshmi. That is the yoga of recognition. Okay, so value is wherever you recognize value. So as you look into process with your reflection, from that commingling of witnessing and watching process, right from the middle of it, a recognition happens in your heart space, and that is Lakshmi. Okay, so even when you watch the breath, or even when you're watching yourself do sun salutations, you're in one way looking at Kali as this great process, this mystery. You don't know from where these movements are happening, and you watch it, and in between suddenly you feel the gift of movement. Okay, you really feel how blessed I am to do this movement for my walking, for my speech, and that is the yoga of Lakshmi. The 9 rasas, rasa is a flavor of enjoyment. Okay, it is not just feeling, it's feeling with the flavor of enjoyment. And we do this when we go for movies of different kinds. So, some kind of horror movies are scary, are outright disgusting. And we pay and go and see, and some people see it many times. Because what you see, though you are getting repulsed and scared and screamed, and yet a part of you know that this is a play. And you actually are enjoying it. And we also pay to watch movies which really project human tragedies. And we are really crying as we vicariously connect with actors and actresses and go through the same emotions. But yet we come out feeling that it is a beautiful movie. We enjoy sadness, we enjoy horror, we enjoy disgust. That is rasa. Okay? So you connect to wisdom. So in Kashmir Shaivism is where the 9 rasas are actually first coming. So what they say is you go to the mountaintop, you get wisdom, and then you come down and live your life. But there you'll find that you can live your life experiencing the rasas. Because life will still bring out very disgusting moments. Life lives itself in these ways. We cannot, simply because we do some things on the mat and read some books, it doesn't give us a privileged access to only peace. Life doesn't live itself that way. It takes you through a ride through these 9 levels, okay, the 9 rasas. It will take you through disgust, it will take you through fear, it will take you through anger, it will take you through even heroism, compassion, and all that it will take you. But once you have the wisdom, you enjoy all of them in a way that is rasas. Okay? So every experience, you have the boundary riders of Shanta and Sringara. Okay, so that you have to write, Shanta and Sringara. Shanta is that base, that which holds you stable, and the universe doesn't like just stability. It also likes that movement and that instability. That is Sringara. So it breaks the stability to create something new, to create something different. Okay, so you can see that the universe never repeats itself. Everything is unique, and that itself is Sringara. So all that you can just read up and write. Okay, now I need a very short break, so just come and just discuss the last few sessions quickly. After 5 minutes, we'll discuss the last module.
Judgment.
Okay, shall we discuss the last one? So fourth module, we were looking at the Hatha Yoga itself. You just have to read up the notes. It's basically about centering your awareness to Sushumna. And when we talk about Sushumna, you can straight away jump into the fourth bullet point there, the three nadis. The three nadis you have to bear in mind. They are the Ida, the Pingala, the Sushumna. So nadis refer to pathways through which energy organizes itself into expressing as a particularity rather than as a universal essence. So it presents itself as a particularity by organizing itself through these nadis, and plexuses of this energy are called the chakras. So chakras are essentially, for us, it's centers of transformation, where it transforms space into shape through Muladhara, and that is our embodiment, and it transforms our beliefs into a biology through our Swadhisthana chakra, and it transforms our it transforms kind of this energy from its subtle presence into biological energy as ATP and all that through Manipura chakra, and it transforms that universal love into different forms of love at the heart center through different ways of relating. So all that would be the ways in which I would like you to think and connect to these teachings. And also Ida, Pingala and Sushumna, you should know them in two ways. One is as spatial considerations on both sides of that spinal line, Ida as a moon channel, the left part, the Pingala as a sun channel on the right part, and Sushumna the middle. But at Manasa we interpret it also as dualities. Okay? So the Ida and the Pingala represent dualities. So at any point of time when we are swayed by them or this or that, all that represents this Ida Pingala. And as long as this Ida Pingala, they keep dominating our attention, and we cannot connect to the center. And one of the practices by which we kind of balance them both are the alternate nostril breathing in Hatha Yoga, by which both, by offering one to the other, it balances each other at first. And that state is called Sandhya. And once it is balanced, it actually weakens. And once that weakens, the center starts to get active, the Sushumna. That's where you experience mind without a mind. That's called Manon Mani. So generally the mind is which thrives on dualities, which thrives on stories, which thrives on time and space. We are always aware of clock time, we are always aware of the body shape. When you drop in and experience yourself from the Sushumna, all these drops, and then it's a different mind. It's a mind without the stories, a mind without time space. So Manon Mani, and as you continue there, then you have that great merging or the dissolving of the sense of individuality with the universality. That is Laya, meaning the great dissolving. So that is the Sandhya, Manon Mani and Laya. And Muladhara Chakra, we learned about it in detail. So if I ask you to explain Muladhara Chakra, I would expect you to just explain the anatomy of it, which has the square in the middle, the 4 petals, Then you can talk about 4 sounds there, vam, sham, sham, sam, and the core sound as lam. And you can talk about the animal related to that as the elephant. What the elephant represents is more important. And the elephant rider as Indra, the weapon of the Indra as a lightning bolt, what that stands for. So all this you can write. Yeah? It's simple, right? I mean, Muladhara Chakra is that which transforms space into shape, and its geometrical expression is a square in the middle with an inverted triangle inside and 4 petals outside. Yeah? So I think you just read up and you should be able to teach. Then, divisions of nervous system. Do you remember? So, consciousness flows in us as nervous system. In terms of our conscious awareness, it is all about this nervous system. And nervous system is divided primarily into 2, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. So central nervous system is basically your spine and brain, and peripheral nervous system is all the nerves which goes from the spine and brain to the rest of the body. So the subsequent divisions are around the peripheral nervous system. Autonomic and somatic. Somatic nervous system is a nervous system which is linked to your skeletal-muscular body, over which you have a voluntary control. Okay, soma means the body, and so your all these actions, you can flex your elbow, you can do these movements, that is all coming under somatic nervous system. Autonomic is similar to the term automatic. It lies just below the surface of your conscious control. So your organic body, the functions, your digestion, salivation, all these things, the filtering of the blood by the liver, everything is done by the autonomic nervous system. Then your autonomic nervous system is divided into 2, sympathetic and parasympathetic. And that is a very useful split up, which has relevance to you as a yoga teacher. So, sympathetic nervous system is where you are aroused to a fight or flight kind of disposition, where you sense a threat to you and your system preps up to either fight or run. And so it will make the adrenal glands and other glands pump out some hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline and all that. It will send more blood to your muscles to either fight or run. It will reduce functions on digestion and elimination, because it is thinking that digestion and elimination is needed only if you survive. So right now we need to survive. So that is a sympathetic drive. Parasympathetic is when your nervous system thinks that everything is okay, so it doesn't set your body up for fighting or running, so it doesn't secrete those kind of stress hormones, and it simply doesn't push all the blood into the muscles. It sends the blood to your digestive system and other organs, and it increases its focus on your immunity. It fights off foreign pathogens better, it eliminates better, it digests better, all those things. Generally, in the present day scenario where we are always aware of our work, our deadlines, everything through the phone itself, we tend to be mostly in sympathetic overdrive, reminders of work to be done, reminders of bills to pay, the banks and everything is, the debtors and everybody is always coming up as messages in the phone. So we tend to get a bit stressed and challenged and threatened. So then our system, when it's overly on sympathetic drive, that gives rise to all kinds of diseases later, which are called psychosomatic illnesses or stress-related ailments. So we need to provide our system with enough time with parasympathetic. Okay, so that's where we need to step off unwholesome stories, connect to the breath, beautiful long exhalations, release of tightness of the muscles, and really able to open the pubic area, abdomen and the chest. All those are big indicators to your nervous system that actually you're fine. Whenever we are tensed up, the flexors, these areas tense up because it has to protect. So when we completely reverse and open the heart, it reverses the sympathetic overdrive. So this is a big field through which how yoga works as a stress management system, and that can be understood. So then actually we are over, because the rest of the thing is very just technical. You just have to read up the different chakras, it is just other 4 chakras which we haven't explained much. For us, the main focus is Muladhara, Swadhisthana. Okay, and the rest are, you just have to go through it. So that's all in terms of the revision of the lectures. So you're set, most of you are set for writing when? 18th? The exam? Set it, yeah? Okay, let Nigel know. Yeah, you're supposed to send, so between you can discuss, and generally it's done on a Saturday morning, so if we can discuss between you and let Nigel know. If 1 or 2 don't want to do the same day, that's okay, we can arrange that. There would also be a practical teaching assessment, which I'll notify you the date soon. So that is not a big thing. You will be asked to come prepared to teach the opening sit, sun salute, then 1 standing posture, 1 back bend, 1 inversion, something like that, and shavasana. Okay, so but the date that I need the support teachers, so the date I will let you know soon. Yeah. So namaste. You discuss, yeah. Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. It was a great pleasure having you in the lectures. I'll miss you. Yeah. You can't say the same, I think.